And I said at the start of the show, this is important. It feels like the last 48 hours has become the winger Wild West. And Liverpool, I don't know what shooters they've got, but it ain't looking too great at the moment. Although, it's too early to say for definite. Now, as of last night, you were expecting PSG, Diamande, hope that Barcola will be sold, Tweed end up at Liverpool. That was the passage that we felt like, come on, let's get on with that. And yet, look what's happened in the last 24 hours. Probably one of the biggest ructions in the market, and I'm saying this. Real Madrid enter the race to sign Yan Diamande from Red Bull Leipzig. That was an on-steam bomber about 10 o'clock last night. Indirect club-to-club talks, Real Madrid with Leipzig as well. PSG remain interest, and the 19-year-old had chose them as the next destination, but not yet got the deal agreed. Jeez. And then, as everyone else is reporting, this is ramping up through the levels, isn't it? As Matteo Moretto said, Real Madrid is accelerating negotiations for Yan Diamande. The player is given maximum priority to Real Madrid and has already given his approval. Now the talks between Real Madrid and Leipzig are entering their most intense phase. And if you look at other reports that sort of come out in the last hour even, they're very close to that €120 million deal, aren't they? That there almost feels an expectation now that Yan Diamande will end up becoming a Real Madrid player, which was unexpected, let's not pretend, has also just caused us to think like, oh shit, because he was supposed to be going to PSG, so they would then sell Bradley Barcola. What's the knock-on effect for that? Because PSG have sold Kangin Lee to Atletico Madrid. Yes, they're trying to get in Magnus Akliouche. They've sold Goncalo Ramos to AC Milan. Are they going to let Bradley Barcola go without someone else in? See? Jono9761, who's been screaming his head off in the chat panel saying, we're screwed. Maybe for this move. I won't be that dramatic, Jono, but it's all opinions, innit? Also, I would just say, does this definitively mean, that Bradley Barcola is staying at Paris? No. It ain't helpful, though, is it? I mean, there's a real risk now that Liverpool summer could be Diamande, top target, spent all that time going after him, got played by Rock Nation, missed out. Also, that Bradley Barcola jumped to the top of the list and we've waited and we've waited and we've waited while others have done certain things, and now that plan might fall through. Combined with questions about, as ambient noises there, Richard Hughes, where he might be. I mean, Al Hilal seems to be doing a fair bit of business. Maybe that's a different discussion. Maybe that's part of this discussion as well, isn't it? So however you dress it up right now, Liverpool don't look too clever.
Now, Captain Obvious, Mr. James Pearce, has been talking a little bit as well, and Jimmy's been saying this about Liverpool's pursuit of a wide player. He said, since the pursuit of Diamande floundered, Bradley Barcola has been Liverpool's top target. However, agreeing a deal is far from straightforward with Paris Saint-Germain, who are under no pressure to sell, valuing the player in excess of 100 million. I'm going to pause it right there because they are under a little bit of pressure to sell. Despite what James Pearce is saying here, they have a similar contract situation with him that we have with Alexis McAllister. If they don't agree an extension with Bradley Barcola this season, he'll have 1 year to go and they will get nowhere near the transfer fee that they would want for the player. So I don't know how this one all pans out. Like I've said, it feels like a risky game for me. Liverpool reliant on PSG selling a player that we still don't know if he's even up for sale. Now, like I've said, I'm not writing it off. I do think it's very possible, But what are we waiting for? Surely throw in a bid, get the conversation going at this point, because the longer it drags on, the more risky it becomes. He also goes on to say that Liverpool have inquired about the availability of Monaco's Magnus Akliouche. But again, I'm going to reiterate, PSG are going to sign Akliouche Akliouche, that would be an interesting one, Mac and Akliouche together. PSG are going to sign him just... it's going to happen. So I don't know why Liverpool are still sniffing around here. PSG want him, he wants PSG. And yes, they haven't found a deal with Monaco yet, but that one will happen. So I don't think there's anything to Liverpool and Akliouche that has any type of credibility to it. But understandable link for us to have to a player that we could have again put in a bid for if we wanted. If Liverpool are really interested in Akliouche, what are we waiting for? Again, it feels like PSG are dictating Liverpool's transfer window. And I got to ask the question, what's the recruitment team doing? Answers on a postcard. Do we still have postcards in this day and age? Actually, I don't know. I'm showing my age here. So let's pivot towards Real Madrid and the shock news yesterday that they are making a play for Yan Diamonde. Mateo Moretto said this: Real Madrid is accelerating the negotiations for Yan Diamonde. Goes on to say the player is giving maximum priority to Real Madrid and has already given his approval now. Talks between Madrid and Leipzig are entering a more intense phase. But really interestingly, another huge claim has been made from the Madrid-friendly media around the pursuit of Elise. They say that Real Madrid used Michael Elise rumours in the media so they could work in silence on Yan Diamonde. They even went to Germany in secret, according to this piece, to start working on a deal. Now, should we look at Michael Elise? I mean, it's very, very unlikely, but why not? Throw a bid in. What are we waiting for? Elise might say no, it might not happen, but at least we could close that door permanently. If I'm being really honest about it, deep down, when I go to bed at night, I dream about Michael Elise being the Mohamed Salah replacement on the right wing. He's always been my number one target. But again, I do understand it's highly, highly, highly unlikely. But what are we waiting for? Try. You don't try, you don't get. So let's move on to Vinicius Jr. and, of course, the news that he could be leaving Real Madrid. According to David Ornstein, Arsenal are exploring a move to sign.
Anfield's summer rebuild has a new centerpiece, and his name is Bradley Barcola. While most of the football world was locked onto the World Cup, Liverpool's recruitment team was quietly building the framework for what could become the most expensive move of their entire window. Today we're unpacking every angle of this story, the numbers, the rivals circling, and what insiders inside the building are actually saying behind closed doors. Let's set the scene. Liverpool have already reshaped parts of their attack this summer, bringing in Victor Munoz from Osasuna and finalizing a deal for Jeremy Jacquet that had been agreed since the winter. But the real headline position, the one that matters most to supporters, is finding an answer to life after Mohamed Salah. That search has led the club straight to Paris. Barcola, 23 years old, a Champions League winner, and a player who delivers goals and assists in equal measure, has emerged as the priority option. This isn't a fringe rumor or a name floated by a tabloid. This is understood to sit at the very top of Fenway Sports Group's wish list. Here's where things get serious. Reports out of Merseyside suggest Liverpool have already tabled an opening offer, with the bidding widely expected to start somewhere in the region of €70 million, that's roughly £59 million, or $80 million. But industry voices are warning that figure is only the opening bid, not the closing one. Financial analyst Stefan Borson has gone as far as suggesting Liverpool will end up signing Barcola, as a minimum, this summer, regardless of what else happens in the market. That's a striking way to frame it, not a maybe, not a hope, but treat it almost as inevitable business. PSG, for their part, are in no rush to sell. Their stance has reportedly been to keep Barcola and push for a contract renewal rather than cash in early. With 2 years still remaining on his current deal, the French champions hold real leverage here, and that's exactly why this could turn into one of the pricier transactions of the summer. Now let's bring in the reporting that's actually shaping this story. David Ornstein, speaking on the Athletics Football Podcast, gave one of the clearest pictures yet of where things stand. He explained that Barcola is a player Liverpool genuinely admire, but cautioned that PSG's valuation would likely sit well above comparable deals, pointing to Elliot Anderson's move to Manchester City, worth around $155 million, as a reference point for what paying market rate for a player of this caliber could look like. Ornstein also noted something worth sitting with. Barcola doesn't appear to be signing a new contract, and by his read, the player appears to be open to moving. That's about as close as a trusted insider gets to confirming there's genuine appetite on the player's side, even if PSG's front office isn't ready to wave him through the door. Then there's Fabrizio Romano, who's been consistent on this one for months. On his own channel, Romano stressed that Barcola has been Liverpool's top attacking target, not for weeks, but for months on end, repeating the point that this has been the priority, today, yesterday, last month, and stretching back even further. When Romano repeats a claim with that kind of consistency, it's usually a signal the interest is real and sustained, not a passing rumor that will fade by August.